Hello and welcome to another painting in the Cottage collection, which is a series of me painting still lifes on vintage vinyl wallpaper. This is the fifth video that I've made, but it's actually this is the sixth painting in the series. Number 5 is apples, and the material was videos and time lapses and photos. And this one was just simpler to make over a holiday weekend, so I'm posting them out of order. Not that you would know that, but I'm trying to keep some continuity and honesty here. And so I'm doing the sketch, and one of the things that I do, there's a somewhat rule that you should have an approach that you use every single time, but you should also have fun. And some of the things that I just do because I like them. And one of those things is to put the highlight in early. And so I do a drawing, and then I'll put in the white highlight while I'm doing the drawing. And there have been people who've seen me do this and comment that it's unnecessary. I had some teachers of mine. Daniel Green didn't like it at all. But it makes me happy, and I enjoy doing it. And this is a job. Art is something that if you don't want to do it, you won't do it. And so I always tell students, hey, you guys make yourself happy, have fun. And if you like doing something and it's working, if you like doing something and it's not working, then you should probably stop doing it. But if you like doing something and it's working for you, well, there's no rule that says you can't do it. And so I like to put the highlight in early. We are painting the lemon from the darks, the shadow color. One of the things about a lemon, and the same things, if you have a problem painting women with blonde hair, and I'm sure this is going to get some comments, practice painting lemons, because the shadows in anything that's yellow are green. And if you're not careful, in a lemon, if you paint it green a little bit, it just looks like it's not ripe. But if you get too green on a painting of a blonde, then you can have problems. And so I always found lemons to be great practice for painting blondes, because the shadows are green. One of the tricks that I find is to use the raw umber green shade for the shadows of the lemon, because it's already slightly green, but it's not too green. You don't want to use like sap green on the first sitting, because you'll have problems with it. And so a little bit of raw umber, and then we're going up to the lights, and then I'll probably put that as I painted over the highlight I was just talking about, and then I'll have to put it back in. I put the highlights in and take them back out, and the worst thing that's going to happen is you'll build up some thick paint, which most painters will tell you that a little bit of thick paint in the highlights is not a bad thing, as long as it's dry. You don't want to have wet. You don't want to put dry paint on top of wet paint, because then it'll crack. And so you need to make sure that everything dries at the same time. And then we're going to be putting the cherries in. And this I have mentioned before, but I don't think you can mention it enough. If ever I'm going to use alizarin crimson on the first sitting, I mix it with something that will dry quickly, and usually that is burnt umber. And so the darks in these cherries have a lot of burnt umber in them, because with the reds, so that they dry overnight. I come back in the following day and put more alizarin over the top. But alizarin is probably one of the slowest drying colors. There's a great book called Ralph Mayer's The Artist's Handbook, and they've got multiple editions, but it goes into the drying times of your colors. And one of the reasons that I always suggest people set your palette and stick to it is because knowing the drying times of your colors is important, unless you're an alla prima painter who paints everything in one sitting. Then it doesn't matter, because you let it dry. But if you're going to be working in multiple sittings, it pays to know the drying times of your colors. And I could go into when I teach a workshop, I go into all the drying times of alizarin crimson and sap green and raw umber. Your browns, your umbers, or raw umber, burnt umber, have a tendency to dry overnight. So I take those off my palette every single night. Cat red is a slow drying color. Any cadmium color is a slow drying color. And so I'll carefully put those in. Maybe use a touch of liquid at this point, because I am trying to do these in 6 or 7 hours, and then finish them up, and over 2 sittings. And so when you're planning on working the next day, it definitely helps to have your painting dry overnight. I don't worry about the spots on the lemons, the spots on the cherries, the reflected. I don't worry about any of that on the first sitting. I put that stuff in later. One of the reasons that I have when we're on the wallpaper is that now I don't have to worry about the background either. It's you have to when you're trying to make a painting that's economical, and these are all priced at $250 in my big cartel shop. Now, but when you're trying to do something like that, it definitely helps to speed things up, take away as many difficult areas as you can, and focus only on what's important. That was the original plan of mine when I came up with this series. This is going to be this is about a 7-minute video. And as I said, there will be longer videos in the future. The 4 apples that are coming up next is a lot of source material. So I'll get a little bit more into the technical stuff. But let me know, hey, do you want to see more technical stuff, less technical stuff? What do you want me to talk about? Feel free to make a comment, put it in the comment section. That way I also feel like I'm not talking to myself. And if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, because that's really what helps keep this going. We're on the 5th video, so we're still pretty new, but again, comment, like, let me know that, hey, this is something I'm interested in, and we'll see you next week for the next one. There's the finished shot. Thanks for watching.